Do people feel inspired and heard and understood when they talk to you? Do they feel valued and appreciated? Have you given that any thought whatsoever? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do a deep dive into today. Thank you for joining Your Empowered Self. We are going to do a deep dive into, do people feel valued when they talk with you? Now, of course, we all want people to feel excited, empowered, inspired, valued, appreciated, respected, heard, and understood when they talk with us. We definitely want people to walk away from us feeling better than when they came to us, right? We all want that. We have to think about the point of conversations. Now, when you have conversations with people, it's not just to talk. The purpose of communicating is to exchange information, right? You want to make sure that you exchange information and that that person wants to be understood, just like you want to be understood, right? And from that, you end up developing a connection, a bond, an understanding between each other. And even if you have differing opinions, it's okay. That too should actually be respected. You can learn something from someone who thinks differently from you. So it's good to be able to have conversations, but how do we ensure that we're making people feel valued and they are walking away feeling as though they got something positive from talking with you and not something negative? Well, there are key things that you can do to make sure that people feel valued when they talk to you. And one of the things to do is to make sure that you step into someone else's shoes. To step into someone else's shoes, you have to first take off your own. And when you do that, there are 4 key things that you want to focus on when you are stepping into someone else's shoes so that you can understand them, understand their perspective. 4 keys. Now, the first one, you want to just make sure that you are suspending all of your thoughts, all of your preconceived notions, anything that you think about a topic or a subject or whatnot. Suspend all of that and just simply be open to what someone else is saying to you. You'd be surprised at how much you can learn from other people when you are just open to what they're saying. And if it's something that you don't believe or you don't like or you don't want to do or you don't feel that way, it's okay. Because again, we are all different people. We have diverse backgrounds. We were raised differently. We have different perspectives. We are individuals. Everyone has a right to their own thoughts and opinions. But you would be surprised at how much you would learn from other people, even if you don't agree with them. It's opening your horizons. It's opening your awareness when you are open to what someone else is saying. But just simply suspend your thoughts, forget about your own opinion, and just be open to what they're telling you. I'll give you an example. I had worked for a company and I had just started. I had been there maybe a week, and I am a people person. So I was the only one in the office who would do this on a regular basis. I would go to everyone's I would go to everyone's offices and I would say, good morning, how was your weekend or how was your evening? I always made sure that I did that because I wanted people to know that this environment may be a little bit more formal than my personality, but everyone has a personality and everyone can connect. On a business level, we can connect and work cohesively and have great working relationships and even great personal relationships if you just have conversations and be open to what other people are saying. So I had been doing that for the entire week I'd been there, and I had found out, the next week I had noticed that one of the team members wasn't talking to me as much as she did my first couple of days there. And I had noticed it, but I didn't know why, and I didn't think anything of it. One of the other coworkers ended up talking to me and telling me basically she had taken what I said in a negative way. She had taken it wrong and she didn't like it, rubbed her the wrong way. So she was keeping her distance from me. So I appreciated her giving me that information, especially because I was new. I was still getting to know everyone. But one of the things that was important for me was for her to know that even if you don't like something I said, it's okay. And I would never vilify anyone for thinking differently. For me, I would never be angry at someone else who doesn't like what I said, but I need them to know that my intentions will always be positive. They will always be pure. I will always be authentic with you. And I will always be open to conversation. So if someone is offended, I'm not going to scoff at that. I'm going to open the conversation and welcome a conversation with them, which is what I did with her. So we came to my office and we started talking, and my desk and my chair was actually right next to the door. I did not close my door. And I did tell her why at the end of our conversation. We spoke for an hour. But I told her I didn't close my door because I don't have anything to hide. And I don't mind apologizing if I hurt you or offended you in any kind of way because it wasn't my intent. And I don't mind people hearing that because that is my authentic self. I will tell you what it is that I was trying to say and what my intentions were, and my feelings about whatever it is that I said or did still stands. But I respect people's feelings. I respect my feelings, and I want us to all be able to talk openly and be comfortable with that. So I heard her out. I listened to her, and I thanked her for sharing how she interpreted my comments. I told her what I meant by them, and we totally had a great understanding. As a matter of fact, we actually developed a great relationship, a great working relationship, and a great personal relationship where we talked about our families and friends, and we opened up with each other. So this conversation ended up being a great thing because I made her feel valued. I let her know that I am suspending my thoughts. I'm not vilifying you for taking what I said in a negative way or thinking differently or anything like that. I just wanted to be open, hear what you had to say, and I value you just like I want you to value me. So when we had that conversation, that made all the difference in the world to her. And even though I had my door open, anyone could hear it. I wasn't trying to lower my voice either because, again, I don't mind apologizing. I am strong in who I am, but I am also humble and respectful. So we ended up having a great conversation. She did feel valued. She did feel like I didn't judge her and that I was open to what she had to say. And I didn't even realize how much it had touched her until probably a week later. Several different team members made a comment about how much she really appreciated our conversation. Just hearing that feedback from her directly, as well as other staff members who weren't even a part of the conversation, it let me know that she heard and she understood that I was sincere and I was suspending my thoughts and I was open to hearing what she had to say. And I did value her and she could value me as well. So that is the perfect example of when you suspend your thoughts and you are open to someone else. You can help them feel appreciated and valued. You can help them feel heard and understood. And that's exactly how she felt. Okay, so that's the first key. The second key is to make sure that you listen to what someone is telling you. Actively listen to someone else. That means listen without trying to come up with your thoughts or your opinion or your perspective so that as soon as they're done talking, you can throw out your conversations or your thoughts, your perspectives, right? That's not why you listen. You listen to someone else so that they can feel understood, so that they know that you heard them and you understood them, right? So when you open yourself and you listen to what someone else is saying to you, and you're listening to simply understand, just simply understand, that will make people feel like they are appreciated and they are valued and you respect them, right? So they can walk away from the conversation and feel like they were actually heard. That's what makes people feel valued. When you listen to them, I'll give you an example. At that same company that I was telling you that I worked for previously, because of the fact that I am big on communication, I am big on authentic, open communication, everyone on our team knew that. And even though it was a conservative environment, everyone knew my authenticity, and everyone knew that I welcomed what they had to say, as well as what I have to say, right? And so because of that, there were some internal issues that people were having with two particular leaders, and they felt like they weren't heard. They felt like they couldn't go to them and say what they were feeling, but they were all individually saying the same thing. In essence, they all wanted to be heard because they had work and ideas that they felt like could contribute to an even better working relationship and environment, but even produce better results. But they didn't feel like that leadership was open to hearing them. And so they, as a team, and I mean multiple people, actually designated me as the person, hey, can you go talk to them? Actually, they didn't even ask. They said, when you go talk with them, because I do stand up for myself, I will stand up for other people in a very respectful way, non-confrontational, but everyone has a right to their opinions and their feelings, and everyone will want to stay, and you can retain your employees when people feel like you heard them. You are listening to them, you hear them, you value them, you appreciate what they're contributing, and you want to hear their thoughts, right? So I actually did. I did go to the leadership and I did let them know what staff, the team was feeling. And I specifically stated, I can definitely only speak for me as fact. And I did give her my opinion. I actually felt the same way. I just didn't realize so many people on the team felt that way until they all came to me. Some individually and some in a small group. They clearly had already thought, okay, we want to go to leadership. Who on our team would be best for that? And they felt like I was. But the point of it is I did give my perspective, and I did let them know the team feels, and they would like for me to talk with you about it. But I can tell you from my perspective, this is how I feel, and this is also what I see, which may contribute to why other team members are feeling a certain kind of way. Now, it was a great conversation. By the time I got to my desk, we had a retreat that was scheduled on all of our calendars. So she actually was listening to me, and she heard what I was saying. And when I went to the team and let them know, hey, I had the conversations, we have a retreat, so that's great. We're all going to be able to express our thoughts and our opinions and give our ideas. And even if they're not taken, they're giving us this opportunity that all of you want. The reason why I'm giving you that example is because it's the perfect example of showing I listened to the team. I listened to what they had to say. And I did notice that everyone individually was saying and feeling the same thing. They wanted to feel appreciated and valued. And at least with their conversations with me, they knew that I was listening. They knew that I understood them. And they knew that I appreciated and valued them. And I would be a voice for them. A positive, respectful, and professional voice. But nonetheless, a voice for them because they weren't comfortable doing so. So that is the second key. Now, again, just to recap, we first want to suspend our own thoughts and our perspectives and be open to what other people have to say so that they can feel valued when they walk away from us. The second step is making sure that we listen, and that we listen with open ears, and we are open to what they have to say. And we're doing so without judgment, without an opinion, without thinking about what we want to say, what our comeback is going to be. We just listen. Okay? The third key is, after we listen, restate what they said in your own words. You don't have to regurgitate everything, but certainly restate what your colleague, your friend, your partner, your coworker, restate what they said in your own words. The reason why that's important is because it allows them to feel heard and understood. And when you say it in your own words, they know that you were listening and you truly understood, because you are connecting in a way to where you heard me. You understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm feeling. You may not feel the exact same way, but you just restated what I said in your own words. That is definitely going to let someone know that, hey, I value you. I appreciate you. I'm listening to you. And I understand what you're saying, so much so that I'm going to tell you what I just heard you say. I had a situation where, actually it wasn't even a situation. It was a beautiful moment. I had taken an intern out for lunch because it was close to their internship, and I didn't work with her very often, but I would see her down the way. She'd pass sometimes, and she always said hello to me, and because that is my personality as well, I asked her if she would like to go to lunch before she heads back to school. She was working in a completely different department. And we went to lunch, and I purposely used that time to allow her to talk. I asked her about herself, her interests, her major, what she likes to do, her family. I wasn't prying. I was just allowing her to tell me about herself. And we did have a lot in common, but I didn't do a lot of talking because I really wanted to give that opportunity to her so that she knew that there are other people here that she didn't even work with, but who do want to be of help if they can be. So I listened to what she had to say. And what I found, because I restated what she was saying in my own words, what I found was she's very, very creative and very artsy. She loves the artistic world. That's actually what she's passionate about. But she wanted to go and work in the other side, policy, business. She wanted that side of it. But that wasn't really her passion. It's just what she was great at doing. And so I had asked her, have you ever thought about combining those into your career? That's how I figured out what my career was. I knew what I was going to do since I was 16, but I took, what am I great at? What do I do very, very well? And what do I enjoy? What am I passionate about? Put those together, and what's my career? Right? Well, my career is public relations and marketing. So I asked her that question, and she was surprised. Her eyes got big, and she was like, well, I'm not sure how I could do that as a job. I gave her several different examples that she could do where she combines both of them. And if she wanted to stay in our city, I gave her companies and organizations that she could perhaps seek out, because that would be a great opportunity for her. But if she wanted to expand her horizons, she mentioned New York, and I heard that earlier in the conversation. So I mentioned you can go to New York and do this and also do this, so you could fulfill both your passion and what you're great at. We had a great conversation, and she thanked me for that conversation. But the reason why I'm giving you that detail was because I heard everything that she was saying. I understood what she was saying, and I also understood what she didn't know that might be helpful for her in her journey moving forward. And by the end of our conversation, after I gave her those examples, she started crying. And I didn't know what she was crying for. And I asked her, what's the matter? What's wrong? And she let me know that no one had ever sat and talked to her about what she was great at and what her passion was. And no one suggested the same things that I had suggested. She didn't even know that she could combine them into a career. But it gave her so much hope, and it gave her encouragement, and she was inspired, and she understood that she could use what she's great at doing and her skill sets and her interests, but also incorporate what she's passionate about and make that into a career. She felt valued. She felt heard and appreciated. And she felt like I listened. So that is the third key tactic. We want to make sure that you listen to people, you restate what it is that they were saying. I restated to her by literally telling her what she said that she liked and what she was interested in, and then careers that she could go into that she might want to consider and do a little bit more research. I restated everything without using her exact words. She knew that I heard her. She knew that I understood. And I restated it to prove it. So that's the third key. The fourth and final key is to make sure that when you are stepping into someone else's shoes and you take off your own, the last step is to make sure that you don't judge what you are hearing. Doesn't matter who you're talking to. You don't want to judge, really, because what someone else's feelings are, or their opinion, or their ideas, or their thoughts, or their perspectives, it's theirs. And everyone has a right to have their own opinion. And that should be respected, just like what you think, what you feel, what your perspective is on whatever topic should also be respected. You never want to judge people because, one, again, you learn a lot from people who think differently from you. Even if you don't agree with what they're saying, you're learning something that you didn't know before that conversation. If you were actually open enough and you were listening wholeheartedly, not to give a comeback, but to understand them and to connect with them. So making sure that you are not judging someone else and just allowing them to be them and allowing them to have their perspective and allowing them to voice their perspective. And then you guys have conversations about your own perspective and what you think, and you can figure out and see what your similarities are or what your differences are, both of which can be respected. Because it's not our place to judge. Honestly, the only person, or it's not even a person, but the only person who has a right to judge anyone is God. That's it. And we are not God. We are individuals who want to be heard. We want to be respected and valued and inspired and appreciated, right? We want to make sure that when people walk away from us, they feel good about our conversation. Just like I want to walk away from conversations and feel like it was a positive conversation, right? I was inspired. I heard them. I felt heard. I felt like I was understood, and I understood them. And we were able to connect. Well, the only way you can do that is when you do listen, actively listen with open ears, and you don't judge. So thank you for having this conversation with me. Just to do a quick recap, to make sure that people feel inspired, heard, and understood, valued, and appreciated, you have to first take off your shoes to step into theirs. And the way that you do that is by suspending your thoughts and being open to what people have to say, even if it's different from your perspective. The second thing is making sure that you understand what they are saying, right? You have to understand and help them feel like you understand by listening to what they're saying with open ears. And then the third is to restate what they're saying in your own words. And fourth, never judge. Just simply appreciate what they are saying and the information that you were getting and the new perspective that you may have or a new perspective that you can appreciate. I had a year-long encounter with a coworker at a previous organization I used to work with. We had great conversation. He always felt like I was so energetic and I had great conversation with him that he would come and visit me every single day. And we would always talk for about 10, 15 minutes before our workday started. And every day I would tell him about what I learned at Bible study. At the time I was going through the Bible, and it was an 18-month process that we were going through. And I think this was 2023. We talked every day for a year. So I'm telling him about what I learned. I was telling him what I was excited about. I was telling him things that surprised me. But we would also talk about work. We would talk about his projects, my projects. I am very good at discernment. I don't do a lot of talking about it because, frankly, I feel like that's between me and God. But regardless of how much of a people person I am, I notice everything. And I discern an awful lot as well. I can hear when God is talking to me. I can also see dynamics in the lay of the land. And so I would tell him, we would talk about work, and I would let him know, well, I think that things are going to be changing. I think that this is going to happen. This person's probably going to be leaving. We weren't gossiping. It's just we were talking about our culture and unity. And I would tell him different things like, well, I think that this might change soon. Wouldn't tell him why I would think it. I would just simply say, I think that this might change soon. So we may end up working with other teams, or I could see this happening. So with that being said, I found out when I turned in my resignation, I told him I was leaving when he came to visit me, and he said, you know, Shanika, I really enjoy our conversations. I enjoy talking with you because I always get something out of it. And I'll tell you, I don't believe in God, but I know that everything that you've said to me seems to always come out right. Everything that you've said has actually come to pass. I feel like there must be something to him. There must be something to your God. I was so shocked. For that year, I didn't even know that they didn't believe in God. And I'm saying they because I believe in he, she, they, and I'm being respectful of that person. But I didn't even know that they were an atheist. I didn't know that they didn't have the same beliefs that I did. And it's okay. I'm not talking about a person that you know. So I'm going to say he. It was a he. But I didn't even know that he didn't believe in God. He allowed me to express myself every day about what I was learning or what I was excited about from Bible study. And that is a perfect example of I heard him and he listened to me. He heard me. We valued each other. We appreciated each other and we respected each other. And I'm not sure why he never told me, because he knows that I would never judge him. And I didn't judge him when he told me he didn't believe in God. If you don't believe in God, that is between you and God. Just like my relationship is between me and God. And I can tell you my experiences. I can tell you what I have encountered, and I can tell you my love for him. And I know that God is here and he is in me. He is in all of us. And if someone else doesn't believe, I did my part, and I will continue to do my part. I don't have to change your mind. That's for you to experience. I can only tell you what I experienced. He allowed me to do that. But one of the things that he had said to me, which was it meant so much to me. He said, as much as I talked to him, and when he told me that he didn't believe in God, I didn't judge him, and he appreciated that. And all that he had learned from me that entire year. Again, having someone who doesn't believe in God to understand that, you know what, you've seen some things go to pass based on some things that I've said, and you know my belief. So there really is a God. Now, of course, I wasn't going to get him to say that. I didn't ask him that question. I respected him, but I appreciated him telling me how much he learned just from our conversations and just from my daily experiences and my weekly experiences with church and Bible study, and the fact that I did not judge him. He said he was inspired. I will never forget that conversation, that friendship. It was a great working relationship, and that's a great example of how when you talk to people, if you don't judge them, you help them feel like you are hearing them, you heard them, you understand what they have to say. You're not judging them, you're letting them be them, right? You're letting them be themselves. And doing that without judgment is always going to make people feel appreciated and valued. And they're going to be inspired when you share your perspective and allow them to share theirs with no judgment. So that's it. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. Again, the 4 key things is to make sure when you want to step into someone else's shoes, you have to first take off your own. You do it by making sure you suspend your perspective. You're open to the conversations. You make sure that you actively listen to other people so that they know you hear them, so that you can understand them. And then third, restate what you heard them say in your own words. And finally, fourth, make sure that you don't judge. So thank you so much for this conversation. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share this video so that other people can learn and incorporate ways to be able to make people feel valued, respected, heard, understood, and appreciated when they walk away from conversations that they had encountered with you. So thank you so much. You have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Till the next time.